The hall was silent. Only the sound of chains echoed through the dark chamber. Two young women stood at the center of the alien courtroom, their wrists bound in glowing cuffs. Their faces were pale, but their eyes still carried fire. Lila, the older sister, stood straight even with the weight of chains. Arya, the younger, trembled but tried not to show fear. In front of them stood a man, a human, a soldier. His name was Ethan Cross. His heart was beating like a drum inside his chest. His hands shook, though he tried to hide it. He had fought many battles in his life, but never had he faced a choice like this. On the high platform, the alien commander leaned forward. His tall frame was covered in silver armor. His skin was gray and his eyes glowed red. When he spoke, his voice filled the chamber like thunder. "Human," the commander said slowly. "Pick one, sister. The other will be executed now." The words fell heavy in the air. Ethan's throat went dry. He could not believe what he had just heard. He looked at Lila. He looked at Arya. His mind screamed at him that this was not real, that no one could be so cruel. But the alien's smile told him otherwise. All around the courtroom, alien soldiers stood with weapons ready. Hundreds of alien citizens filled the seats above, watching in silence. Their strange eyes studied the human, waiting to see what he would do. It was not just a trial. It was a show. Ethan's chest tightened. He wanted to shout, to fight, to tear the chains from the sisters and run. But he knew he could not. He had seen these aliens before. Their weapons could cut through steel. If he made one wrong move, both sisters would die in an instant. "Why are you doing this?" Ethan finally asked, his voice low but steady. The commander tilted his head and grinned. "Because, human, we want to see what you truly value. Family, loyalty, or survival. You must decide, and you must decide now." Ethan's mind raced. He remembered how he had met the sisters, how they had saved his life. He remembered Lila's courage, how she stood against soldiers twice her size. He remembered Arya's kindness, how she had cared for him when he was weak. They were not just friends. They were his family now. But the aliens did not care about love or loyalty. To them, this was a game, a cruel test. The commander raised his hand, and one of the guards stepped forward with a long black blade that glowed at the edges. The sound it made as it hummed through the air sent chills down Ethan's spine. "Choose," the commander repeated. "If you refuse, both will die." Lila stepped forward, her voice strong even as chains rattled. "Ethan, listen to me. You cannot let them control you. Don't give them what they want." Arya cried out, her voice breaking. "No, Ethan, save Lila. She is the strong one. She can survive. Please save her, not me." Ethan's heart cracked. The sisters were trying to sacrifice themselves for each other. Their love was stronger than fear, and that made the choice even harder. The crowd above began to whisper. Alien voices filled the chamber like a hiss. They wanted blood. They wanted to see pain. They wanted to see a human broken. Ethan clenched his fists. Sweat dripped from his brow. He knew time was running out. The commander's glowing eyes never left him. The guard's blade was ready. In his mind, Ethan heard his own voice. "If I choose, one dies. If I refuse, both die. What can I do?" His breathing grew heavier. Every second felt like an hour. The silence of the courtroom pressed down on him like a weight. He looked again at the sisters. Lila's steady eyes, Arya's tearful face. Both of them trusted him. Both of them were ready to give their lives. Ethan felt something burn inside him. Rage, despair, love, all at once. He raised his head and looked straight at the commander. His voice cut through the silence. "I will not play your game," the courtroom gasped. The aliens hissed louder, their whispers turning into roars. The commander's smile faded into a cold glare. His fingers tapped the armrest of his throne, each tap echoing like a drumbeat of doom. "You dare defy me, human?" the commander asked, his tone sharper now. Ethan did not answer. His jaw was tight, his eyes locked on the monster above him. He felt powerless, but he would not bow. He would not choose. The commander leaned forward, his face twisting with anger. "Then you leave me no choice," he raised his hand high. The guard with the blade stepped closer to the sisters. Arya screamed. Lila shouted for Ethan to look away. Ethan's heart thundered. His legs felt weak. He was moments away from losing everything. But deep inside, he knew this was only the beginning. And in that instant, as the blade hovered over the sisters, Ethan swore to himself, "I will not let them die. I don't care what it costs." I will find a way. The chamber filled with the alien commander's final words. Very well, human. If you will not choose, then watch as both are destroyed. Darkness fell over Ethan's mind. The game had only begun. The sound of the alien commander's voice still echoed in Ethan's mind. The black blade hovered close to the sisters, ready to strike. Every heartbeat felt like it could be the last. Ethan's fists tightened, but before he could act, his thoughts pulled him backward, back to the moment when everything had begun. The first meeting it had been weeks ago, on a ruined world far from Earth. Ethan had been hunted across deserts and forests by alien patrols. His body was weak, his wounds deep, and his supplies gone. He had collapsed under a broken tree, thinking his fight was over. That was when he heard a voice. Soft. Human. Don't move or they'll see you. When Ethan looked up, he saw Lila for the first time. Tall, strong eyes, hair tied back, her face painted with dirt to blend with the shadows. She moved like a hunter, quiet and sharp. Beside her was Arya, clutching a small satchel of herbs. Her face was gentler, her eyes wide and bright with fear, but her hands were steady as she pressed herbs into Ethan's wounds. You're human, Ethan whispered, his throat dry. Lila's answer was short. So are you. That makes you family now. From that day, the sisters became his shield. Lila taught him where to hide, how to move in silence, how to fight back even with nothing but stones in his hands. Arya treated his wounds, brought him water, and whispered stories at night to keep the darkness away. They risked their lives every moment because the aliens had declared helping humans a crime. Ethan remembered watching the two argue one night. You shouldn't have saved him, Arya had whispered. The soldiers will find us. We'll all die. Lila's voice was firm. He's one of us. If we abandon him, then what are we? Survivors? Or cowards? Ethan had lain still, pretending to sleep, but every word had burned into his heart. They were not just two strangers. They were hope in human form. Back to the courtroom. The memory faded, and Ethan's eyes returned to the present. The courtroom still buzzed with alien whispers. The sisters still stood in chains, and the blade was still close. His chest hurt with the weight of what they had done for him. They had saved him. Now he had to save them, but how? He looked at Lila. Her face was calm, though sweat dripped down her cheek. She met Ethan's eyes and shook her head as if telling him not to give in. Arya, however, could not stop crying. Her lips trembled as she whispered, "Please, don't let her die." The commander rose from his throne and stepped down the stairs slowly, each step echoing like thunder. His eyes glowed brighter as he approached Ethan. You remember, don't you? The commander said. How they kept you alive. How they betrayed us for you. That is why you must choose. You owe them a debt. But you cannot repay both. His voice carried cruelty, but also something darker. Curiosity. The aliens wanted to see the human heart torn apart. The audience watches. The chamber was alive with whispers. Rows of alien citizens leaned forward, their strange faces eager. Some wanted blood. Others wanted humiliation. All of them wanted to see the human broken. One alien child asked loudly, "Which one will he kill?" And the crowd laughed. Ethan's jaw tightened. They were not even treating the sisters as people. They were treating them as a game. Enough, Ethan shouted, his voice echoing. They are not your toys. The courtroom grew silent again. The commander's grin widened. Oh, but they are human. Every life under our control is a piece on the board. And today you are the player. Choose your piece. The sisters' plea. Lila stepped forward, chains rattling. Her voice was sharp. Ethan, don't do it. Don't play their game. If you pick me, I'll never forgive you. If you pick Arya, she'll never forgive you. You cannot win this. Arya's voice cracked. Don't listen to her. Save her, Ethan. I'm not strong enough. She can fight another day. Save Lila. Their words cut into Ethan like blades. He had faced alien war machines, deadly weapons, and endless battlefields, but nothing compared to this. Ethan's breaking point. Ethan's hands shook as he remembered every night they had kept him alive. Every moment they had stood between him and death. He remembered Lila grabbing his arm when he wanted to give up. He remembered Arya pressing food into his hand even when she went hungry. How could he choose between courage and kindness, between strength and innocence? The commander's voice thundered again. Your time is almost gone, human. Choose, or both die. The blade was raised higher. Ethan's heart pounded, his lips trembled, but he forced the words out loud enough for all to hear. I will not choose. The reaction. The courtroom exploded with noise. Aliens hissed and shouted. The commander's smile twisted into rage. He stepped closer, his red eyes burning into Ethan's soul. You still resist? Very well. Then the punishment will be greater than death. Ethan's breath caught. He did not know what that meant. But one thing was certain. This nightmare was only beginning. The sisters stared at him with wide eyes. Lila's expression was proud, almost defiant. Arya's face was wet with tears, her lips whispering his name. Ethan stood tall, his body trembling but his will unbroken. He had made his choice not to play their game, and as the commander lifted his hand to give the signal, Ethan knew he had only moments left to find another way. Or lose them both forever. The commander's hand froze in the air. His glowing red eyes studied Ethan like a predator deciding how to tear apart its prey. The room was alive with alien whispers, sharp and mocking like snakes hissing in the dark. You think you can refuse me? The commander said at last. His voice carried through the courtroom like thunder rolling over mountains. You think you can defy the will of my people? Ethan stood tall, though his body trembled inside. His throat was dry, but his words were steady. I will not choose. If you want blood, take mine. Leave them. The crowd erupted into harsh laughter. Some banged their clawed hands on the stone railings. Others shouted curses in their alien tongue. They wanted a show, and Ethan's defiance only made them hungrier. The commander stepped closer. His silver armor reflected the pale light, and the ground seemed to shake with his every step. He stopped only a few feet from Ethan, his face so close Ethan could feel the unnatural heat of his breath. No, human, the commander whispered, his grin sharp. This is not about your death. It is about your weakness. It is about showing all who watch that the human heart is soft, fragile, and easy to break. He turned toward the sisters. Lila's jaw was set like stone, her eyes burning with anger. Arya's cheeks were wet, her lips trembling as she tried to hold back sobs. The commander lifted a finger and pointed to them. So here is the truth. If you choose one, the other dies, and your world may be spared. If you choose neither, both die and your world burns with them. Ethan froze. His stomach turned cold. This was worse than before. This was not just about the sisters anymore. Now it was about Earth. Billions of lives, families, children, cities. The commander had tied their fates together. The trap. The commander circled Ethan like a vulture. Think carefully. Your people wait for you. Your choice here will echo across the stars. If you let both die, you let Earth burn. Are you willing to carry that burden? Ethan's breath came heavy. He wanted to shout, to fight, to break free, but his body was trapped in this web of cruelty. His heart told him to save them both. His duty told him to protect Earth. But the commander demanded an answer that betrayed one side. The sisters shouted at once, their voices clashing. Don't listen to him, Lila barked. Ethan, if you sacrifice Earth for us, you'll regret it forever. Choose me. End this. No, Arya cried, shaking her head. Save her! She is stronger. She can carry on when I'm gone. Please, Ethan, save her, not me. Their voices echoed in his ears, tearing him apart inside. His hands shook. Sweat rolled down his temple. He could barely hear the alien crowd anymore. All he could hear was the sound of the two sisters begging for each other's lives. Ethan's breaking point memories struck him like blades. Lila teaching him to fight with nothing but his fists. Arya whispering stories in the dark to keep him awake through his pain. Both of them giving him hope when he had none left. He felt as if the commander had reached into his chest and was crushing his heart with cold claws. The commander spoke again, his tone calm but cruel. Tell me, human, which will it be? The warrior, or the dreamer? The protector, or the child? One life for your world, one sacrifice to prove your loyalty. Ethan's knees nearly gave way. His voice cracked when he finally spoke. Why? Why do you do this? The commander tilted his head. Because human, war is not won with weapons alone. It is won by breaking the soul. If we can make you choose, if we can force you to betray love for duty, then we own you. The sister's defiance, Lila shouted suddenly, her voice like a whip. Ethan, don't you dare give them what they want. If you choose, they win. Don't you see it? Arya sobbed harder. But if he doesn't choose, we die. Earth dies. Lila, please let him save you. Their words clashed, pulling Ethan in two directions. His head spun. His chest felt like it would tear apart. The guard's blade gleamed in the pale light. One wrong word and the weapon would fall. The silent moment Ethan's eyes closed for a moment. He let the noise of the chamber fade. He let the alien laughter and the sisters' cries fade. In the silence, he asked himself, what does it mean to be human? To sacrifice love for duty, or to stand against the impossible? When he opened his eyes, they burned with new fire. He looked straight at the commander, his voice low but firm. You think you can break me. You think you can make me betray them. But I won't. You can kill us all. You can burn Earth, but I will never choose. The crowd screamed in fury. Aliens stomped, shouted, hissed. The sound was deafening. The commander's grin turned into a snarl. The punishment. The commander raised his hand for silence. The crowd obeyed at once. He leaned close to Ethan and whispered, so only he and the sisters could hear. Very well, human. You defy me again. Then you shall watch as defiance brings a punishment worse than death. Ethan's stomach twisted. His eyes darted to the sisters. They looked back at him, fear and love mixing in their faces. The commander's voice grew louder, echoing through the hall. Since the human refuses, let the trial change. Both shall suffer, and the earth shall tremble with them. The alien crowd roared, shaking the chamber walls. Ethan's heart thundered. He had stood against the choice, but the commander had twisted the rules again. And now the trap was closing tighter than ever. The roar of the alien crowd shook the chamber like an earthquake. The air was thick with hatred, with hunger for pain. Ethan stood frozen, his fists clenched, as the commander raised both arms high. Witness the failure of the human heart, the alien shouted, his voice booming. He refuses to choose. Then both shall pay. Their bodies will suffer, their world will bleed, and all will know that humanity is weak. The crowd answered with screams of approval, stamping claws against stone until the floor trembled. Ethan's stomach turned cold. His plan to defy the choice had only led to worse punishment. Now the commander wanted not just death, but humiliation. The new trial, 2 alien guards dragged out strange machines from the shadows. They were tall, black frames covered in glowing blue symbols. At the center of each was a chair bound with energy cuffs. Sparks crackled from the restraints, filling the air with the smell of ozone. Bring the sisters, the commander ordered. Lila and Arya were pulled forward, chains rattling. Lila struggled, kicking at the guards, her eyes burning with fury. Arya stumbled, nearly falling, tears streaking down her face. Ethan took a step forward, rage burning inside him. Stop this. If you want someone to suffer, take me. The commander turned, his red eyes glowing brighter. You will suffer, human. You will suffer by watching. That is the true pain. The guards forced the sisters into the machines. Blue cuffs locked around their wrists and ankles. The machines hummed, energy pulsing like a heartbeat. Ethan's chest tightened. He had seen these devices before. They were not designed for quick death. They were built for torment. The commander's words. The commander walked slowly to the center of the room, his silver armor gleaming under the pale lights. Do you know why we do this? He asked, looking at Ethan. Because choice is the weight that crushes the human spirit. You run from it. You fear it. And in the end, it destroys you. He raised his hand. So we will show you a new choice. Watch carefully, the machines came alive. Blue energy raced up the cuffs, striking into the sisters' bodies. Lila gritted her teeth, refusing to scream, though pain twisted her face. Arya cried out, her voice echoing across the chamber, high and broken. Stop it! Ethan shouted, his voice cracking. He slammed his fists against the invisible barrier that kept him away from them. Sparks flew where his hand struck, burning his skin, but he didn't care. You monsters. The commander smiled coldly. Not until you choose. The sisters speak through clenched teeth, Lila spoke, her voice sharp with defiance. Don't listen, Ethan. I can take it. Don't give in. Arya sobbed, her body shaking under the energy. Please, Ethan. Make it stop, save her. Save Lila. Their voices cut into him like knives. His throat closed, his chest burned, his mind screamed. He couldn't watch, but he couldn't look away. The impossible choice again. The commander lowered his hand and the machines powered down. Both sisters hung weak in their restraints, their breaths ragged, their faces pale. The alien turned to Ethan. Here is your choice, human. If you pick now, one sister dies quickly without more pain. The other walks free. But if you refuse again, both remain in the machines until their bodies break. The crowd hissed, cheering for torment. Ethan's knees nearly gave way. His mind spun in circles. If he chose, he betrayed one. If he refused, both would be tortured until nothing remained. He whispered to himself, there has to be another way. There has to be Ethan's desperation. He looked at the sisters again. Lila's eyes locked on his, steady even through pain. She shook her head slowly, silently telling him not to give in. Arya, trembling, whispered his name like a prayer. Ethan pressed his palms against the barrier, his voice trembling. You don't have to do this. This isn't justice. This isn't honor. This is cruelty. The commander tilted his head, amused. Justice? Honor? Those are human illusions. Power is the only truth. And today, power belongs to me. He snapped his fingers. The machines powered up again. Arya screamed as the energy surged. Lila bit down on her lip until blood ran down her chin, refusing to give the aliens the pleasure of her cry. Ethan's vision blurred with rage. He slammed the barrier again and again until his fist bled. Stop it! I said stop! The commander's smile widened. Then choose. Say one name and it ends. The silent oath. Ethan's breath came fast, his heart breaking. He wanted to scream out a name just to end their pain. But deep inside, he remembered Lila's words. If you choose, they win. He closed his eyes. I can't give them victory. I can't betray them. I won't. When he opened his eyes again, they burned with fire. He looked at the commander, his voice steady despite the storm inside him. You will not break me. You will not own me. I will find a way. The commander's smile faded. His red eyes narrowed. Then you have sealed their fate. The trap tightens. The machine surged with greater power, lightning crackling across the sisters' bodies. Arya's screams filled the chamber. Lila's face twisted in pain, her body trembling violently. The alien crowd cheered louder, feeding on the suffering. The commander raised his arms, basking in their praise. Ethan's voice broke as he shouted, Hold on! I swear I'll save you! Just hold on! But as he spoke, he realized something deeper. The commander was not only testing him. He was enjoying the show, yes, but also waiting. Waiting to see if the human would shatter. And Ethan knew. The true trap was not the machines. The true trap was time. How long could he watch before his own spirit broke? The chamber glowed with the blue light of the torture machines. Sparks snapped and hissed as energy crawled across the sisters' bodies. Arya's screams filled the air, sharp and piercing, while Lila's silence was just as painful. Her body shuddered violently, but she refused to give the aliens the sound of her suffering. Ethan pressed against the invisible barrier, his fists raw and bloody. His chest burned with rage, but inside his mind a voice whispered, You cannot win by rage alone. Think. Find a way. The commander stood tall, drinking in the cries like they were music. His red eyes glowed brighter as he raised a hand and cut off the power. The machines went silent. The sisters hung limp, breathing hard, sweat dripping from their pale faces. The commander turned slowly to Ethan. See how quickly they break? Humanity is fragile. A single spark of pain and you beg for mercy. Say the name, human. Say the name and I will stop. The crowd hissed in agreement. They wanted the choice. They wanted the betrayal. But Ethan's eyes drifted away from the commander. Something on the far wall caught his attention. The symbols on the wall behind the throne, carved deep into the black stone, were symbols glowing faintly. They were old, not like the smooth marks of alien machines. They looked ancient, almost sacred. At first, Ethan thought it was just decoration, but as he stared, his soldier's mind began to see patterns. Circles, triangles, and lines repeated, connected like instructions. His breath caught. He had seen something similar once in a stolen alien manual. They were trial marks used in rituals. This wasn't just punishment. It was a test. Memory of a story, a faint memory stirred in Ethan's mind. Back on Earth, before he was sent to the front lines, an old officer had told him a story. The aliens didn't just conquer with weapons. They broke spirits with trials of deception. They make you believe you must choose, the officer had said. But the truth is, the choice is a trap. The real test is whether you will submit. Ethan's pulse quickened. Was this the same? Were the machines, the commands, the threats all a performance? He studied the glowing marks again. Yes. The same circle repeated 7 times, 7 trials. The officer had said survivors were rare but not impossible. Ethan's heart hammered. If this is a trial, there must be a way to win without choosing. The commander's taunt. The commander noticed Ethan's wandering eyes and stepped closer. Do you think staring at walls will save them? No, human. Only your words can. Speak one name and the pain ends. Ethan looked back at him, forcing his face to remain blank. Inside, though, his mind was racing. Don't let him know you see it. Don't let him know you understand. Lila raised her head, her voice hoarse but steady. Don't believe him, Ethan. This is their game. Don't play it, Arya sobbed, shaking her head. But I can't. I can't take more. Please, Ethan, please. Her cry tore through him. But the memory of the old story held him together. It's a trial. It has rules. There has to be an end beyond this. Watching closer, when the commander raised his hand again, Ethan forced himself to look past the pain. The machines flared, blue energy crawling across the sisters. The crowd screamed with joy, but Ethan's eyes weren't on the suffering anymore. They were on the symbols. And he saw it. Every time the machines activated, one of the circles on the wall glowed brighter. His breath caught. It's counting, 7 circles. A trial of endurance. He whispered to himself, if we survive 7 cycles, the test ends. The choice to endure. The commander stepped down from the platform, his voice mocking. You are cruel, human. Look at them. They beg and still you stay silent. You are worse than me, Ethan met his gaze. No. I believe there's more to this than your lies. The commander's smile faltered for just a heartbeat, but then returned. Believe what you wish. Their screams will still echo in your soul. He raised his hand again. The energy surged, filling the chamber with light and pain. Ethan clenched his fists, whispering under his breath. Hold on, just hold on a little longer. This isn't the end. The sister's strength, Lila's head jerked back, her teeth clenched, her voice finally breaking in a guttural cry. Arya screamed again, tears streaming down her face. Ethan wanted to tear his own skin off in rage, but then he saw it. The second circle on the wall lit up. 2 down. 5 to go, Ethan shouted across the barrier. Lila, Arya. Listen to me. This is not forever. It's a trial. 7 times. If you endure, you live. The sisters opened their eyes weakly, hearing his words through the noise. Lila gave the faintest nod. Arya sobbed, but something in her gaze steadied. The commander's head snapped toward Ethan, suspicion in his eyes. What nonsense are you feeding them? Ethan straightened, his voice strong now. I'm telling them the truth. You can't break us. Not today. The commander's rage for the first time, the commander's smile vanished completely. His eyes burned brighter, his fists clenched. You think you have discovered something? Foolish human. Then let's see how long your spirit lasts when their bodies collapse. He slammed his hand down and the machine surged harder, lightning crackling across the sisters' skin. The crowd cheered louder, their hunger feeding the storm. Ethan's voice broke as he screamed, Hold on! Just 5 more, hold on! The hidden hope as the sisters writhed in agony. Ethan forced himself to stare at the wall. The third circle glowed. Hope burned in his chest, fragile but real. The commander had laid the trap. But inside the trap there was a path, 7 trials. Endure them all and they would win, Ethan whispered again, almost to himself. We can do this. We will do this. No matter what. And as the chamber filled with screams and lightning, the 4th circle flickered to life. The 4th circle glowed on the wall. Only 3 remained. Ethan's body trembled, but his eyes stayed locked on the ancient markings. This is the path. Hold on and the trial ends. But the commander had noticed the fire in Ethan's gaze. His red eyes narrowed, suspicion burning behind them. You think you've found hope, the alien hissed, stepping closer. But hope is the easiest thing to crush. He raised his hand. The machine screamed with power. Blue lightning surged across the sisters' bodies. Arya wailed, her voice breaking like glass. Lila bit down hard until blood ran down her lip, but even she finally screamed. The 5th circle flared on the wall. Ethan's heart leapt, but fear followed quickly. The sisters were weakening fast. Their bodies shook violently, their breaths shallow. Could they survive 2 more cycles? The breaking point, the machines shut down for a moment. Both sisters hung limp, their heads bowed. The commander spread his arms wide to the crowd. Behold, this is the human's mercy. He claims to love them, yet he lets them suffer. He claims to value loyalty, yet he gives them pain. Is this not worse than death? The crowd howled in approval, their voices rising like a storm. Ethan's fists clenched so hard his nails dug into his palms. You're lying to them. You want them to believe it's hopeless. But it isn't. The commander turned sharply, glaring. Then prove it. Speak now, choose. End their suffering with one word. He stepped close, lowering his voice so only Ethan could hear. You already know they cannot survive. One will die either way, but if you choose, at least one lives. The alien's words crawled through Ethan's mind like poison. He looked at the sisters again. Lila's chest rose and fell in ragged breaths, but her eyes burned with defiance. Arya's body shook, her face wet with tears, but she whispered weakly, "Please, save her." Ethan's throat tightened. His plan had been to endure until the seventh circle. But what if they didn't survive that long? What if the commander was right? His body shook as the thought struck him. If I wait too long, I might lose them both anyway. The sixth circle. The commander raised his hand again. The machines roared back to life. Blue lightning ripped across the sisters. Arya screamed so loud it tore through Ethan's chest. Lila's body convulsed, her head thrown back in agony. The sixth circle glowed on the wall. Only one remained. Ethan's heart pounded so hard it hurt. He shouted, his voice shaking the chamber. "Hold on!" Just one more. Just one more. But the sisters looked ready to collapse. Their eyes rolled, their breathing shallow. If the final surge was worse, they wouldn't make it. The commander stepped forward again, his grin wide and cruel. They will not survive another cycle. Speak, human. Choose one, save one, or watch both die in front of you. Ethan's decision, the crowd roared, chanting in their alien tongue, demanding blood, demanding choice. The air was thick with pressure. Ethan's body shook with desperation. He looked at the sisters, one strong, one gentle. Both broken, yet both still alive, his lips parted. The words came out in a whisper at first. "I choose." The chamber fell silent. Every alien froze, their glowing eyes fixed on him. The commander leaned forward, hungry for the answer. Ethan's voice grew louder, echoing across the room. "I choose. You!" He pointed directly at the commander. The crowd gasped. For the first time, silence filled the chamber, shock and defiance. The commander's smile vanished. His eyes burned with sudden fury. "What did you say?" Ethan straightened, his voice strong. "You wanted me to name one of them. You wanted me to betray them. But my choice is you. If someone must die, let it be you. You are the one who deserves it." The silence broke into chaos. Some aliens screamed in rage, others in shock. The guards shifted uneasily, their claws tightening on their weapons. The commander's fists clenched, his armor glowing faintly with red energy. "You dare twist my command? You dare mock this trial?" Ethan didn't look away. His body trembled, but his voice was steady. "You set the rules. You said I must choose, and I have. My choice is you." The final circle. The commander's hand shot up, trembling with rage. "Then endure your defiance." The machine screamed again, blue lightning striking harder than ever before. Both sisters screamed together, their cries filling the chamber. Ethan's heart shattered. But as the lightning raged, the seventh circle on the wall blazed to life. The trial was complete. The machines powered down with a loud crack, smoke rising from their frames. The sisters hung limp, alive but barely conscious. The barrier flickered around Ethan, then shattered into sparks. The commander froze, his eyes darting to the glowing symbols on the wall. For the first time, a shadow of doubt crossed his face. Turning the trial, Ethan stepped forward, his voice sharp. 7 trials. That's what this was. I know your rituals. I know the rules. We endured them all. The test is over. The crowd fell into hushed whispers. Many of them turned their eyes to the symbols, recognizing the truth. The commander snarled, but Ethan pressed on. "You tried to break us. You failed. You tried to make me betray them. I refused. You wanted to prove humanity was weak. But here we are, still standing. Still unbroken." He looked at the sisters, their eyes half open, still alive. He raised his voice louder. "My choice was never between them. My choice was between surrender and defiance. And I chose defiance." The crowd erupted again, but not with the same cruel joy as before. Now there was confusion, fear, even doubt. The commander stood rigid, fury radiating from him. And Ethan knew, for the first time, the alien monster had lost control. The last circle blazed like fire on the stone wall, 7 in all. The trial was complete. The chamber fell into a heavy silence. The alien crowd, once howling for blood, now murmured in uneasy whispers. Their glowing eyes shifted from Ethan to the wall, then back to the commander. Ethan's chest rose and fell with ragged breaths. His fists were torn and bleeding, but his voice was steady. "It's done. 7 cycles. We endured. The test is over. The commander stood frozen, his red eyes locked on the glowing symbols. His jaw tightened, his fists clenched, but he didn't speak. For the first time, the mask of control slipped. Lila lifted her head weakly from the machine. Her lips curved into the faintest smile. "You did it, Ethan." Arya's voice was barely a whisper, trembling with pain. "We're still alive." Ethan stepped toward them, but the guards moved in front of him. Their weapons gleamed, ready to strike. The commander raised a hand, stopping them. His voice came low and sharp. "Enough! The revelation!" The commander stepped forward, his heavy armor ringing with each step. His face twisted, not in rage, but in something stranger. Reluctant respect. "You discovered the truth," he said slowly. "Few ever do. This was not just punishment. It was a trial. A ritual older than your planet's history. We do not give it to the weak. We give it to those who must be tested." The crowd shifted, hissing softly as if they too were unsettled by his words. Ethan narrowed his eyes. "You wanted to see if I would break." The commander nodded. "Yes, to break is to belong to us. To resist is rare and dangerous." He turned his gaze to the sisters. "Your suffering was never the point. It was the human spirit that mattered, and it has endured." The release. The commander lifted his hand and the machines powered down completely. The restraints opened, releasing Lila and Arya. They collapsed to the floor, their bodies weak but alive. Ethan rushed forward, falling to his knees beside them. He caught Arya before she hit the stone and wrapped an arm around Lila's shoulders. Relief flooded him like a wave. "You're safe," he whispered, though his own voice shook. "You're safe." Lila gave a faint laugh, bitter and tired. "Safe? For now." Arya leaned against him, her voice soft. "You didn't choose. You saved us both." Ethan's throat tightened. He hugged them close, his eyes burning. The commander's verdict. The commander turned back to the crowd, spreading his arms wide. His voice thundered again, filling every corner of the chamber. "Behold the human. He has endured the trial of 7. He has refused to betray, refused to bow, and so by the ancient law he and his companions walk free." The crowd erupted, not in cheers but in chaos. Some shouted in protest. Others fell silent in fear. A few even bowed their heads, unwilling to meet the commander's gaze. Ethan stared in disbelief. "You're letting us go?" The commander looked back at him, his red eyes sharp. "Do not mistake freedom for victory, human. You survived the trial, but the war remains, and now we know more of you than before." His grin returned, cruel but thinner than before. "Human spirit cannot be broken easily, but that only means we will try harder." The bitter victory. The guard stepped aside, allowing Ethan to lift the sisters to their feet. Together, they stumbled toward the great doors of the chamber. Every step felt like a lifetime, every alien eye on them heavy with hatred and curiosity. As they reached the doors, Ethan turned back one last time. He locked eyes with the commander. "You wanted to prove we are weak," Ethan said, his voice steady, "but you proved something else. You proved we can endure anything you throw at us." The commander's smile flickered just for a moment before returning. "We shall see, human. We shall see." The doors opened with a deep rumble, spilling light into the dark hall. Ethan guided the sisters through, leaving the chamber behind. Outside the trial, the corridor outside was silent, lit only by faint blue flames along the walls. The air was cooler, calmer, but heavy with the memory of what had just happened. Lila leaned against Ethan, her voice low. "You were right. It wasn't about us. It was about you, about humanity." Arya wiped her tears with trembling fingers. I thought we were going to die, but you never gave up." Ethan swallowed hard, his voice quiet. "I almost did. But then I remembered something. Humans don't win by choosing who to sacrifice. We win by refusing to give in." They walked slowly, step by step, until the chamber's noise faded behind them. The final reflection. When they reached the end of the corridor, Ethan paused. He looked at the sisters, alive but scarred forever by the ordeal. He looked back at the dark doors closing behind them, and in that moment he understood the true weight of the trial. It wasn't about proving strength. It wasn't about saving lives. It was about showing the aliens something they didn't understand, that even in the face of impossible choices, humanity chooses defiance. Ethan tightened his grip on the sisters' shoulders. His voice came firm, like a promise. "In that courtroom, I didn't just save you. I saved what it means to be human. The doors slammed shut behind them, sealing the trial forever. But Ethan knew this was only the beginning.